you. And I'd like to welcome our team, Kris Rader and Arianna Kris, to help me today talk about gratitude and how gratitude is the key to almost everything. You know, when Jake invited me to speak, I knew I wanted to talk about gratitude because for me, it's this really dramatic superpower that we have. It transforms everyday life, immediately raises our mood. It's like always having $1 million in your pocket and you'll never run out. During challenging and dark times, it may be hard to dig down and locate it, but it's always available. As Misty Pratt says, gratitude offers us a way of embracing all that makes our lives what they are. More than just a happy feeling for the parts of our lives currently going our way, gratitude encompasses the willingness to expand our attention so that we perceive more of the goodness we are always receiving. And I know that Greg mentioned this in his beautiful meditation, the expansiveness of gratitude. In a few minutes, Kris, Arianna, and I will be relating our own stories about our experiences with gratitude. But first, I wondered what the experts had to say about gratitude. And yes, there are gratitude experts. Robert Emmons, who is professor of psychology at UC Davis, defines gratitude in two parts. The first is it's an affirmation of goodness. People can learn to wake up to the good around them and notice the gifts they have received. And the second part of gratitude is recognizing that the source of this goodness comes from outside of ourselves. That we receive these gifts from other people, from a higher power, fate, or the natural world. And most importantly, in other words, gratitude helps people realize that they wouldn't be where they are without the help of others. So it reinforces community, it forms community, and it lets us know that we're never alone. He goes on to say, gratitude helps you see the bigger picture and become more resilient in the face of adversity. And as we all know, life has a way of throwing us some pretty significant curveballs where we will need a lot of resilience. So before we start on our panel, I'd like to relate a couple of stories from some Aldea friends where gratitude and resilience have come together. Years ago, our friend, Robin Neems, was recovering from cancer, and it was a long and difficult recovery. There were days when finding something to be grateful for was really hard, but she had a gratitude practice, and some days the best she could do is say, "I'm grateful I wasn't hit by a truck today." She said to life, "Hey, this is the best I could come up with, but thank you. I really am glad I wasn't hit by a truck today." Another dear friend, Robbie Collins, lost her beloved husband a couple of years ago. She also had a gratitude practice, and some days that was a heavy lift. One day, in the midst of her grief and sorrow, all she could think of was, "I'm so grateful to whoever invented aspirin." And we laugh and we chuckle at that because there is a humor to it, because it's seemingly small thing. And yet, digging down and finding that within you immediately lightens the burden that you are carrying at that time. And again, lets you know that you're not alone. I was raised Roman Catholic, and we learned story after story of Jesus' miracles. But it wasn't until many years after I left the church that a Science of Mind minister pointed out that before performing a healing or some other miracle, Jesus always gave thanks first. His gratitude always preceded any action that he took. For instance, in the parable of the loaves and the fishes, when the disciples told Jesus that they only had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish for a large crowd, Jesus said, "Bring them here to me." And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. So in my childhood, that was related as an example of Jesus' divinity. But when I looked at that parable through the eyes of metaphor, it became a much more powerful story for me. A really, really powerful teaching story where Jesus was demonstrating to people that through gratitude, all their needs will be met. Rather than Jesus' miracles separating him from the people, as I was taught, they made miracles available to everyone through gratitude and faith. Gratitude has a powerful effect on us, not just mentally, but emotionally and physically. You feel an internal expansion in your chest, a lightening of emotion. Metaphorically, our eyes are opened, and our awareness very literally expands. When I'm angry and resentful, I'm very narrowly focused. If I'm feeling put upon or deprived, that grievance is my focus. It's small and tight, compressed. It's hard to see anything outside of that lens. But the minute I can feel gratitude, oh, look, there's light out there. My vision and my awareness expand, and I start to see new ideas, new resources, solutions, or simply acceptance of what is. It's as if a window has suddenly been opened and we say, "Oh, wow, look out there. I never noticed that before." Very simply, as Melanie Beatty tells us, gratitude turns what we have into enough. And although this is a simple statement, it's so powerful. And I just wanted to relate something that happened yesterday that's kind of a great example of this. Our granddaughter graduated from high school. Now she's in Cedar Park, Texas, and we're in Tucson. So we were not there. And I had been feeling really, really sad that we were not in Texas for her graduation. But then my son-in-law texted us and said, "Hey, it's going to be live streamed. You can go on YouTube and see the whole thing." So there we sat in our living room yesterday watching the entire graduation and saw our granddaughter get her diploma and felt the excitement and listened to all the speeches and the music. And it was an incredible joy. And so we knew that what we had was enough. I'll start our panel today with a short story from my own experience about gratitude. Many years ago, I know it's really funny, I emphasize the many, many years ago, before I was enlightened. I was introduced to gratitude by reading Simple Abundance by Sarah Ban Breathnock. Like a lot of people, I tended to focus mostly on what didn't work in my life, my complaints, my grievances. Somehow I thought that I'd solve all my problems by focusing on my problems. But keeping a gratitude journal slowly changed that. At the time, I was very unhappy with my job and daily thought about quitting or finding another profession or a new job. But through reading Simple Abundance and going to our Science of Mind community, I decided to give gratitude a serious try. So each day, I came home from work and wrote 5 things I was grateful for about my job. At first, it was hard because of my habitual focus on the negative, but gradually it got easier and easier, and lo and behold, I started feeling better. Go figure. Oh, new page. My attitude toward work began to change, which was great and made my life much easier. But I also started to get new opportunities offered to me, so that within 6 months or so of beginning this process, I was able to start crafting my job into a form that I really liked. And the next decade became my most fulfilling in my work. So what was really going on at that time? Well, I think it was a demonstration of the objective truth. As Sanaya Roman says, whatever you appreciate and give thanks for will increase in your life. It's the power of attraction, that through gratitude, you're drawing toward you more of what you're grateful for. Christiane Northrup says, feeling grateful or appreciative of something or someone in your life actually attracts more of the things that you appreciate and value. And Norman Vincent Peale, who pretty much had a saying for everything, says, the more you practice the art of thankfulness, the more you have to be thankful for. And now I'd like to pass this to Arianna.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. I really relate to that idea of what you put your attention on, you get more of. Gratitude has been a really important practice in my life, and I've had a couple of amazing teachers in that process. One of which was someone that I met, a man that I met years ago who was really suffering. I mean, angry, depressed, anxious, everything was terrible in his life. And in talking with him, I said, well, what are you grateful for? You know, because I got the quick, easy answer there. What are you grateful for? Nothing. He couldn't come with anything. So he went away and he thought about it and he came back, nothing. There wasn't anything. And I'm trying breath, air, nothing. 6 months, and he could not name a single thing that he felt appreciative for. So I lowered the bar. I'm like, okay, is there anything that doesn't suck? 6 more months, nothing. And then one day when I saw him, he said, you know what? I like roadrunners. And I'm like, okay, let's start with roadrunners. And he started noticing roadrunners, just like you were just sharing about, seeing roadrunners. And the more he looked for them, the more he saw them. And then when we would get together, he would share with me the beautiful thing they did, or the funny thing that they did, or the amazing thing that these roadrunners had done. And I witnessed this man's life start to turn around. It wasn't overnight, but gradually and consistently, all of these horrible things that were happening in his life became less central. And he started to come up with other things that he liked in addition to just roadrunners. So that was a really powerful teacher for me, to realize that I can choose what I put my attention on. And if I only put my attention on what's awful, my experience is going to be pretty awful. Another incredibly powerful demonstration about gratitude for me was in 2018, there were horrendous fires in Northern California, particularly in a town named Paradise. Mm-hmm. The entire town was devastated. And I think something like 56 people died. Mm-hmm. And I remember at that time seeing a video on FaceTime, I think it was, that's all was back there. And it was a woman in her car with her child strapped in the seat behind her, driving through the inferno that was Paradise that day. There was one road in, one road out. Everything was burning, and you can see through the back and the sides of her car. Everything was on fire, and she had her kid. And she's leaving this polo, and she was so terrified. I mean, just absolutely terrified. And then she said, wait a minute. Okay, gratitude. And she just started saying, I'm grateful the car is still running. I'm grateful my child is in the car with me. I'm grateful I know how to drive. I'm grateful that there's still a clear way. Because you cannot simultaneously be grateful and terrified. So as she focused on that gratitude, she gave herself the energy that she needed to get through that situation and to save her life and to save the life of her child. And I thought, okay, that's real. That is real. So gratitude has become a practice for me that really accelerated when I got into my own personal therapy. Because I came in with an idea that these bad things had happened in my life and they really shouldn't have happened and it was a mistake that they happened. And over the course of my learning and growing in therapy, what I came to realize is the things that I thought were the worst, the things that I thought were mistakes that should never have happened, those were actually the greatest teachers in my life. The things that I learned the most, the things that turned me into who I most wanted to be. It wasn't easy, it wasn't fun, but it was powerful and changed me. So then I began realizing that in addition to looking backwards and being able to be grateful, I wanted to focus on, can I be in this moment and be grateful? And there are times that that's really easy. And there are times that that's really not. I love the story that you told about, the best she could do is, well, I didn't get hit by a truck today. I relate to that. And this idea that can I be awake in the moment when I'm suffering? When, like that woman was in the car, can I go, okay, this is really hard for me. I really don't like this. It feels like a mistake. It feels like it's wrong. It feels like it shouldn't be here. Can I remember that every other one of these moments in my life has been my teacher? And can I find gratitude somewhere, even if I don't understand it, even if it's sort of borrowed gratitude based on the fact that things worked out in the past? Can I at least accept that this thing here is a teacher? And the answer is sometimes no. Last year I was really ill, and there were moments at the bottom of that where there was no gratitude. I couldn't do it, I couldn't even muster up the hit by a truck thing. But just a little bit after the worst of the bottom of that, I started seeing, wow, I'm changing. I am changed by this experience. I am not the same person. I loved at Easter, Jake told a story about how when Jesus was resurrected, the apostles, the disciples, didn't recognize him. And I'd never heard that point pointed out before. Because we're changed. When we have those scars, when we're crucified, we're changed. And people might not recognize us, and I might not recognize myself. But that really is my growing edge with gratitude right now, is not just hypothetically, not just for a pretty day, but when it's hard and ugly, can I find it in myself to feel some gratitude for something, for this moment, for this thing, for this teacher that showed up in my life, even though it's brutal. And for me, the way that connects to spirituality is this idea that our heart is the center of the divine. That for me, that's where the divine comes through me. That's where I feel it. And so when I'm in gratitude, I'm actually in my heart, right? It's not a thinking thing. It's a feeling thing that changes my moment in that moment. And how I think about that is when I am in touch with the divine spark that's within me. And that is what makes it so, so valuable for me to focus on gratitude when it's great and when it's really hard. Thanks.
That was beautiful. Oh, that was so beautiful. Thank you. So I am so, so grateful to be up here with these amazing women and for this community. that we get to have, I just have so much gratitude for it. When Kathleen asked me to talk about gratitude, I immediately had two memories that came to mind, and both occurred when our family was traveling in Ethiopia, and they, as Arianna said, they changed my life. They made me bigger. So I'm going to share them with you, and I hope that they impact you as well. So we were in a mountainous region in Ethiopia, and I will tell you, I was super excited for the day. We were on a vacation as a family, and we were hoping to see some waterfalls. We were looking forward to seeing these incredible views and taking in everything. We had 2 teenagers and a 6-year-old. So Mama was on full mama mode. Like we were going to get it all ready. It was all going to be going exactly as planned so that everybody was happy and enjoying the day. And the night before, it pouring rain and torrential downpours. And so this happened. We got stuck and we had to get out. We had to push the car. Mud was everywhere. We were just, I'm just going to tell you right now, I was super annoyed. Like I was not feeling grateful for that moment, like you were saying. In the moment, I was not happy until I saw her. And she's a little girl. She was about 6 or 7. The same age as my youngest. And she was super grateful for the rain. She was grateful because she didn't have to walk the 6, 7, 8 miles with those 2 huge jerry cans to fill her cans at the river. She got to stop and fill her jerry cans with that water. She was grateful for that muddy water. Like, I want to let that sink in for a second. Would you be grateful to bathe with, cook, drink that water? What I think about when I turn the faucet on, when I'm at my home in my, little house in Arianna, and I turn the water on, I see her face. And I am so grateful for that water that's coming out of that faucet. And I think about the 2.2 billion people in the world that do not have access to clean water. I think about the little girls in Ethiopia that have to walk to the river, and the river is also the river where the animals go, where the wash comes from the farms. It's not clean water. And so I think about those kids, and I think about that little girl, and then I think about what do I want in the world? And this is what I want. This is what I want to see. When I saw that little girl, I knew immediately that I wanted to help bring clean water to these little kids in these villages. And this is what it looks like. This is joy. This is gratitude. Like, if we think about turning our faucet on, like, is that our? I know many days it's not mine either, but I try to keep the heart of those kids and that little girl, and just be grateful for that very small thing of water. So I'm asking you guys, when you go home tonight and you turn on that faucet, I hope you see her face. And honestly, I hope it changes your heart too, just like it did mine. Just like Kathleen said, in creating a more expansive heart, a bigger heart, like Arianna said, that can flow from the divine through us. That's what I hope. So the next memory that I had, we were traveling in a very, very remote area in southern Ethiopia. And I expected poverty. There's poverty everywhere in Ethiopia. I almost had become a little immune to it. as you're traveling over the course of 2 weeks. What I did not expect was actual naked children running after the van. This little girl had no clothes. There was throngs of kids with her that had no clothes. And we stopped and we gave them blankets that we had in the car. I was broken. I looked at the pastor that was with us and I said, what can we do to help? How can we help? And he said, we can go buy them clothes. So I looked around to all the companions, our travel companions that were in the van with us, and we had brought money to remember something, to get a souvenir, so we could remember something about our trip. And we gathered all that money, we went to town, and we bought clothes for the kids. And the next day, we gave out these clothes. We gave out the little SpongeBob shirt and the little dresses, and the kids were over the moon. Like, they could not believe that their luck and their gratitude for just a little shirt, just a little dress. And for me, I laugh about it now, thinking that I was bringing money to buy a little souvenir so that I could remember the trip. I will never forget this day as long as I live. I will never forget it. And as soon as every kid got something, as soon as they all had clothing, only then did they celebrate. And I brought a little video of them. And I will tell you, I was jumping along with them. My husband will tell you, I do not hide my joy. And I was the most joyful. And so when I'm in those moments, like Arianna, where I can't figure out how to find something to be grateful for, I think about these moments, and it changed my life. Like, I didn't come back the same person. And I'm super grateful that I was able to be up here with you beautiful women and share that.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Whoops. So Pema Chodron says, we are not given any promises that because of our noble intentions, everything will be okay. We learn that what truly heals is gratitude and tenderness. We need to transform our minds and actions for the sake of other people and for the future of the world. And Kris, thank you so much for being a living embodiment of that. Golly. So not only does gratitude break open our hearts and minds to the good around us, it taps into and expands our empathy, our loving hearts, and our desire to see all beings thrive and happy. Then on a practical level, it serves as a vehicle for more good in our lives. And maybe that good is the realization that all we have is enough. We are at 10:29. We are so good. Oh, my God. Oh, thank you. I want to thank you all for being here, and my dear friends, Kris and Arianna, for their beautiful, beautiful stories.